And here we are. Just like that, we're live. How are you guys doing tonight? It's December 3rd, 2022. We're outside of the COVID thing, I hope. And we're back. How are you doing tonight, ladies and gentlemen? Sips, good to see you. Joe Bollier. Hello, sir. How are you tonight? I'm feeling pretty good. Goose, good to see you. So I'm kind of let's see, what am I had to leave town last weekend and I kind of forgot about the show. The first time in a couple of years, I'm sure it was the first time where I forgot about a show. And well, things happen. I'm pretty sure it wasn't too traumatic. Oh, good. I'm glad that clone was looking good. Yeah, just Run Boy, good to see you, sir. Run Boy, you know what? You're a good person. I'm glad you're here, Run Boy, because I want to run an idea by you that I'm kind of excited about. I'm kind of excited about this idea, Run Boy, so I'm going to run it by you really quick. Since you're a local and you know the Crescent City dynamics, and okay, here it is. You ready, Run Boy? Here's my idea. I'm liking this idea too, by the way. And I already have the name. That's what's really cool, Run Boy, is I already have the name, and maybe you'll get that here in a second. What does Crescent City not have? I'm thinking of opening up a new business. I know it sounds crazy. I'm thinking up a new business, and maybe you can talk me out of my nonsense. But when you open a business, you can't compete with Amazon. So that's something you can't do, and I know that. So nothing. I don't want to compete with Amazon. Here's what I'm thinking. Oh, okay, you ready? I have access to a retail building. Let's go a little coming up here in maybe January, maybe to March. I'm going to have it. It's about 700 square feet, right downtown by the ocean, on the beach, by the park, right there, right actually across the street from the post office. I have a little retail facility it might become available for me. And what don't we have in Crescent City? Well, what we do have is a lot of tourists, right? But we don't have a bicycle shop and we don't have a skateboard shop. And we have a skateboard park about 3 blocks from that building that I can rent. And I was thinking, I love the name. Come on, what would the name be? Yes, it would. I already have the company. And I want to rent out like electric bikes, do bicycle repair, and skateboard stuff. We don't have that here. That's what I'm thinking about doing. What do you think, Rum Boy? Do you think something like that could go well in Crescent City? Please say yes. Please say yes. That's my latest idea. Hey, buds, how you doing? Well, number one, I talked to my cousin about this. Hey, Mr. Shawman, good to see you. I thought when I was a little kid, when I was 10, 11, 12 years old, I lived for bicycles. In fact, I used to go work in a bicycle shop when I was 13, 14 years old. Me and my cousins did the same thing. We just love the idea of bicycle. I love that. Thing's one of the greatest inventions ever. And Ron, you need to get me your I'm glad you're here, Ron Valley. You need to get me your address and I'll try to get you a shirt. And if you're sending it, you got to send it to Green Bicycles, spelled like this, greenbicycles@yahoo.com, because I think someone else sent me something too. But anyways, good to see you, John. Yeah, I like and I think electric bikes are kind of popular. And I think we did electric bike rentals, maybe even little tours. And my little black kitty's getting big. But anyways, I like to get new ideas and get a little bit excited about them. But that's where I am. Anyways, I'll let go of that. We're here to talk about maybe the cannabis industry. Next week, we are going to get Luke from T Labs. We've been in communication. It was going to be tonight, but it's going to be next week. He's feeling a little under the weather. So finally, we'll get some, I don't know. I have to do some research. Oh, good. Good, John Smith. Wink, wink, John Smith. Good alias, by the way. I don't know which electric bikes. The only ones I've ever ridden were the Suron, which are kind of a higher end one. But I don't know. I'm kind of excited. I don't know. Let me put the link. Let me put the link down here, and maybe we'll get some conversation. Oops. Oh, might lose you guys. There we go. There's a link. Now we'll get some content going. Now we'll get some content. Good. I hope you want to put a nice little cure on that, John. Yes. Hope you put a nice little glass jar cure on it for 4 to 6 weeks to really pop out those terps, to enhance the terps. Is always a desirable outcome. Yeah, no, I agree. I've been watching them for the last few years, and yeah, there's going to be huge. And the technology is going to get a little bit better. The batteries will get better. The motors will probably get better. I think now you got to actually worry about being too powerful, because yeah, the electric motors are strong. They got a lot of pull, a lot of torque. Hello, green thing. You spelled that wrong, though, by the way. Okay. Usually it takes about, I don't know, 3 or 4 before those terpenes start to pop. You want to say hi? Come here. Come here. There's my little guy. Look how big he's getting, huh? Yeah, he's as soft and pretty as he looks. He's a good boy. He's a good boy. Let's see. I love, but actually I have a, do they, I was wondering if they had skateboards, but you know what? I'm close. I'd be a little closer. Not much. They're actually right around the corner from where I'd be. But I can't let that stop me, right? They need some competition. They're a little cocky at local boys. They have it a little too easy in this town. Yeah, I know. Especially, I was thinking electric bikes that could get a little bit over your head real fast. And what kind of damage do they take? You know, if they crash into a wall or something and bend the forks, is that the end of the road? Or no? Those are all very important points. No, I spell EA. It's just my funny way of ruining my business, spelling green wrong. You're 67. Yeah. All that stuff freaks me out, Ron. Yes, sir. Anyways, anybody got any good content for me tonight, or you want to do a short show? Build a pump track. Well, okay. We do have actually a skateboard park in town. That's not far from where I would be, and I don't know what the rules are. It's not very popular, but again, there's not a lot of skateboards in town. You want to do a show on weed? Let's do a show on weed. What you got for us, Ron? I know I talk about other things once in a while. Darn it. But I'll always talk about weed. Actually, that reminds me. I'm going to take a quick little break. Hold on 1 second. I'll be right back. I forgot to do something today. Hang on. There we go. Here we go. Let's get back in here. Oh. Well, sorry to hear about that, Sith. Always good to show. Is anyone else, Buds? What's going on with you, Mr. Hazards? Back there in cold Illinois. Hey, Deborah Langrily. Actually, it never really gets, yeah, it is colder, but it's rainier, which is what we need. But yeah, we're finally getting a little bit of rain. I think it might be sprinkling around now. But I looked at the year-to-date totals, and we're only about 52%, which sucks. We need more rain. Old man bastard, do you know what full power is? Do you, sir? Yeah, we need a lot of rain. I'm worried about the water situation. Let's see what we got here. So a quarter ounce for 180 bucks. Wow, prices are rebounding. Low orange. I think I got robbed. Well, if you're high, if you're as high as a bicycle and a helium balloon, don't complain. Folic acid is, full power is basically a fulvic acid, but you're not allowed to use word folic acid on a label. So it's one of those ways they sneak it in kind of through the back door. So they kind of let you know what's in there. But basically, if you're Mr. Bastard, if you're the one looking about the full power, yeah, Mr. Bastard there, order yourself a half a pound or a quarter pound of fulvic acid powder. You can get it, but it's hard to store. It wants to suck water, so you got to have it in a super dry container. Otherwise, it'll turn into a rock. But it's actually a nice product to have on your shelf. Nice little thing to be able to throw in a mix here and there. Throw in fulvic acid in a foliar spray. Ooh, kicks it up. We can discuss it full power. I'm real sure it's fulvic acid product. I don't know what else is in there, but let's see here. Have they done the work? Like I don't think when companies do that, I don't think it gets passed on to other companies. Yeah, there's a process when you want to label on an ingredient. It has to go through like scientific studies. Well, here we go. I love bicycles, Brum Boy. If I can put a bicycle up on a rack and work on it all day, I'm a happy guy. But hey, I would. Don't you think we need a bicycle shop here? We used to have one. I need to get in contact with that guy. Maybe he has some insight for me. But we got to talk about weed, Rum Boy. Maybe you'll have to come over and we'll have a sit down. Leonardite is a form, I think it's a water soluble form of humic acid, but fulvic acid is refined. It's probably refined from leonardite. But when you get leonardite fulvic acid, or I'm messing up my terms, humic acid, it's usually real dark. It's like black. When you get fulvic acid and humic acid from leonardite, I think there's going to be multiple varieties of it. It's long chains, big long chains. Some are longer than others. But when you refine it, you can actually refine and get fulvic acid out of there. And it's actually a light brown powder. It smells like nuts. walnuts. And it absorbs water like a mother. So if you have it open, sitting open like in a jar or something, it'll turn to a rock hard, just a rock. So you got to keep it really dry. And it's really interesting powder, but it's not Leonardite. It probably comes from there. It might come from there, but it's a really small chain humic acid, if I know what I'm talking about. So, yeah, that's what I thought. Yeah, fulvic is a smaller molecule, and it's a form of humic acid. Yes, I think that's the knowledge that I have also. I'm sure it does. I don't know what it is. I don't know what it is. We got Estella's the Van Life's in the house. Good to see you. Elbow, small tubes. Good to see you. Okay, so have you ridden an electric bike yet, though, Rum Boy? Juanito, good to see you. Deborah Langley. We got some of the Slab City community in the house. Good to see you, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on out there? Oh, what's up? I dropped the link. I like this little the fulvic and humic acids. Acids are an interesting molecules, aren't they? Can you define an acid? It's not that easy. Oh, you want? Oh, okay, better make a noise. Well, you know, you can always get the cards, right? Put them in your spokes, like they go with like what we did with Schwinn stingrays back in the day. Yeah, thank you. I appreciate that. Miss Langley, Miss, I'm not sure. I got to be careful with pronouns these days. You never know what you, but I'm going to go out on a limb and say, Miss or Mrs. Langley, thank you for that. Let's see. What does Sips use in his Earth box? Sips is the Earth box guy. Does he want to share some of his, Ooh, that's interesting. We got. Oh, I love Rum Boy. He's quite the character. I don't think that's it. It's a little more like because I think right away of like sulfuric acid, H2SO4. I guess that has a hydrogen. Yeah, I think the hydrogen has something to do with it. And I'm not. There's also weak acids, strong acids, et cetera, et cetera. But build a soil 3.0 is my base soil. Oh, teas are awesome. Great subject. Hey, Pheno Finder, good to see you. Were you the Pheno Finder? Were you the one trying to get in touch with me too? And you said that you might have sent me an email, but I never got it. I think you might have sent it to the wrong green bicycles. You might have missed. I'll put it in there, how I spell it, which was a mistake. That's how to get in touch with me. Actually, we kind of do. We actually kind of do. We kind of do. It's Worms Nursery. It's out. It's moved recently. It's out on Elk Valley Road. They kind of got you covered. But you know what? You know why we don't have a grow shop? Because there's a thing called Amazon, and grow shops have to compete with Amazon. And I'll never open a business that can compete that Amazon competes with, if you know what I'm saying. Okay, yeah. Send that to me, Pheno Finder, at this. I don't know if you sent it at that address, but I never did get anything from you unless I missed it. But send it again. There's nothing wrong with growing with LEDs. Rumboy, caustic soda, yeah, a base will you know what, when you mix an acid in a base, you know what you get? Well, let's say if you mix a strong acid and a strong base, you always get 3 products. Do you know that? Well, maybe you need to open up one. When you mix a strong acid and a base, 3 products, always 3 products. Do you know what they are? 3 products every time when you mix an acid and a base. What are they? You get salt. You get a type of a salt, you get water, and you get heat. A lot of people don't remember the heat part. Mixing acids and bases together creates heat. I left you. How about that for a little bit of a basic chemistry? And you always add, when you're diluting acids or diluting bases, always add the strong into the weak, right? Always add the acid into the water, never the water into the acid. No, I think, no, I'm going to go out on a limb and say I know that from what I know about LEDs is they require DC current. So they're not, what's that word I'm looking for? Sometimes things are turned on and off quicker or slower to change their brightness. But LEDs, you can dim them just turning down the current, but I think they're on a DC direct current, so I don't think they blink. That would be my opinion. There you go. There's a good customer right there. So when you add, let's see, what would be HCl would be hydrochloric acid, and we add sodium hydroxide, NaOH, strong acid, strong base, you end up with NaCl, table salt, and water and heat. Isn't that crazy? You can, if you mix them in the right proportions, a strong acid that would burn your skin immediately, and a strong base that would melt your hair immediately. You mix them together at the right ratios, and you could drink it, and it would just taste like salt water, because that's what it would be. Let's see, yeah, pulse width modulation. That's it. Yes, but I think if you looked at the power supplies, they're just direct current, because it wouldn't make sense in my mind. Pool salt. I don't know what pool salt is. Okay, that could be. Okay. Well, sometimes we go a little off with big words, but I like to. Oh, let me drop that link once more. We've been here about a half hour. No one. What else we got? I don't know. What do you think? And what do you think? Guess what the bicycle store would be named? What do you think it would be named? Run Boy. I'll tell you what it would be named. It'd be named Green Bicycle, sir. That's what it would mean. Well, salt has chlorine in it. It's actually half chlorine. It's half sodium. And that's another thing. You split salt into chlorine and sodium. Sodium is a metal that will burn in water, and chlorine is a gas that'll kill you pretty much instantly. And we get a little treat, ladies and gentlemen. We get Aussie popped up, and good to see you, sir. How you been? Let's bring you up on the screen. Let me get my headphones on here. How you doing, man?
Yeah, mine has it down. Thought I'd have a chat with you, a smoke with you.
Good. How you been?
Busy as usual, but managing. Yeah.
Good. Your background's changed a little bit since the last time I saw you.
Ah, interesting.
Yeah. Is it a different building or is it just? I think it's a different color.
Oh yeah, that's the way. So what are you talking about on today's show?
Oh, we're just Bram. We think we're recently talking about fulvic acid, humic acid, acids. What
Oh,
el- what good stuff do you have for us today?
oh, I just not much really. I just rang in to have a smoke and hope say good day. Hope everybody's well. Maybe we could have a chat after you finish the stream too.
Sure, absolutely.
Yeah, nothing flash.
How's I never are I'm thinking you're studying, right? Are you in the midst of your studies right now? Like
No, the exams finished last month, and it starts back up in end of January, early February.
I'm kind of making assumptions from talking to you, and I don't know if you like talking about it or not, but I'm
Yeah,
guessing you're working on a PhD.
no,
No, just
no,
studies.
yeah.
Okay.
There to for me to get any formal studies to work towards masters and PhD in that realm, it's cost tens of thousands of dollars. So
Hmm.
I thought, what's the point in getting qualifications here? Why don't I just go abroad and get qualifications that I want that are botany and cannabis related, not just subjects that are environmentally related to plants that they only touch on in a few modules. I'll focus hardcore, like you said, kind of like a PhD, but it's directly focusing on the individual things that I want. This university that I go to, it's in India, and they have a collaboration with all universities join in, and so you can pick each semester is about 600 different courses you can do. So when it comes to plant, soil science, and microbiology, I end up getting at least one or two out of each one of those every semester. So I can study exactly what I want: tissue culture and plant science, or plant chemistry, plant physiology. There's ones that are directly associated with the things I want, and then I just do those courses. So it's not, and it is slowly getting recognised by some universities in Australia here where I am. But to be honest, I don't care because I struggled with bro science back in the day, and now I want to make sense of it all. So that's why I've gone and done all these courses and to brush me up. And since that, I just love it. And now I just want to study more and more and more because I'm learning more and more and more. It's fascinating. Over.
No, it is. I don't know. Have you ever stumbled across Apple University?
No.
It's actually something similar. And I stumbled on it around 2010 or so. But what it is kind of what you're describing is they have a university and it's learning for learning's sake. So you don't take, you don't get credit, but you can go to the classes and it's usually from every university from around the world. It could be Oxford, it could be Stanford. Ooh, look at that. Those are color. There's some nice pinks and cherries in there. But basically Apple universities you can pick whatever subject you want. I mean, and from the top universities and sit on their lectures, and it's learning for learning's sake. And I thought it was a wonderful idea. And I went down some of the like organic chemistry rabbit holes, and but it's just fascinating what's out there. And the whole idea was, yeah, you don't get a diploma, but you get to learn stuff. And I thought that was just amazing. And I like that that's catching on a little bit.
I
So
get diplomas.
what's that?
I get certification for it because I have to I sit exams.
Uh huh.
It's a 3 hour exam per course, and yeah, I just sit the exams and get the certification. I get certificates afterwards. I'm actually on one of the university's websites, um, doing quite well.
Well, that's awesome. So what courses are you going to take next time? Do you know yet?
Um, I did have a brief look, and I've only looked once, but remember there was one new agricultural one and one new microbiology one, and I just got excited over that. I thought, oh, you beauty, and I didn't look at the rest of them because there's 600. There's a shitload to go through, and I really cherish those moments when they give me the email say we've released the courses, so you can go and look. I'll take half a day and just go and look through every single course and everything. Like I took cell biology a few courses ago. That's nothing to do with plant soil science or microbiology, but it's cell biology, and it's more so there was medical students that were in there, so it was to do with sort of the human body, I suppose. But I wanted to learn about cells to do with making polyploids, and that sort of thing with cannabis. So I had to learn how the cell works, to how I can manipulate that cell to make it work for me, as an example.
You know what I like? I can tell that stuff gets you excited. I love that.
Oh,
So, hey, is that something I could I take that university stuff too from here? I imagine I could, right?
if you are, I hook people. Yes, anybody can. You have to. Um, I don't tell people lightly because it took me years and years to get onto this place, because all of the other places have ads. They charge you top dollar, etc., etc. They're not user friendly. This one is exactly what I wanted. It's a university, straight to the point. You download half an hour, 40-minute lectures. You don't use your hands, because I'm disabled in my hands, so I really struggle. So the less pressing I can get is the better for me. And it's just perfect. I watch them all. That's what all my playlists on my YouTube site have, all my private lectures that I thought was relevant to cannabis that I've saved. So they're all up there too. But that got off the point of it.
Right. You know what? One thing I really miss. I live in a small town, and there's no the first time I've ever never lived where there's a university, and I love to learn stuff. I might maybe just think about this. If we took a class together, we could compare notes.
I've asked a few mates in Weed Nerds to do that with me, and there's a few classes that other people, that especially organic farming and sustainable agriculture class. That's what I can. Anybody in cannabis who grows would love that class. So and I've done that, and I've done the pre-course one of that one. I know it. I did actually. I got in the top 5% out of 800 students in that course. It says that on my certificate. It's got the little thing how it says down the bottom. But yeah, that's an example, and yeah, I don't mind. It's just fun, mate. Like it's a hobby, and I want to get better at cannabis and understanding it and manipulating it and bringing out the best for other people as well as me, because it's a multi-spectrum drug. So we need to bring out the best for me. Then what's the best for you? What needs for you? As an example. So that's where the realm I'm going and trying to understand it. There's no specific courses, I think, directly related, but if I can do all the agriculture and microbiology, plant soil science around it, bang, over.
So what strain did someone ask what strain that was that you showed a minute ago?
Oh, that was, I think it's pineapple chunk. Yeah, I'll get a
pineapple chunk?
Yeah, I'll get another bud. Actually, here's one, a untrimmed one, so you can see this is a nice trimmed one. This is untrimmed, straight off the plant.
I like them like that, actually. That's how I like mine.
Ooh.
Yes.
I like to tell trimmers, it's like as if every bud is getting taken a photo for the front cover. That's the way that I like it, because when I look at it, I get a bit of a placebo effect, going, wow, look how rad that is. That's going to get me fucked up.
Okay. I like the other one, actually. I like to take the little ones off with my fingers and have the rest.
Yep.
Kind of like eating lobster. Got to do
Actually,
a little work.
This genotype got crossed with the ruderalis. That induced it. Should have been an autoflower. It brought out a dominant ELF gene. I crossed and pulled this ELF gene out of this genotype and put it into other varieties. And I tested it just last run with pineapple death bubba, and it was at day 50. It was finished. It was all amber. There was just not one bit of pistils that were white at all. It was fully amber. All of the anthers were just finished. It was great.
So that came from the ruderalis gene, you believe?
No, I did. The ELF gene, it was pulled out of that one, and it was, because that's a dominant factor of the ruderalis, is that the early finishing gene is a factor that's in its signaling pathway, and I was just very happy that experiment worked. And now I've got one because people always say day 50, whatever bullshit. It's just, well, I've legitimately seen it. I usually go to day 60, day 65 or 70 when I'm making seeds, but this is a legit day 50. So it's good.
If you can go from 50 to 60, that's 20%. That's actually 20% of the cost. That's real. It's a real savings.
when I was in BC, I was taking my microscope around to the dispensaries and I was grading the buds, and I was finding a lot of those growers were taking theirs to about day 40, day 45, because of how clear the trichomes were. And if they had the ELF dominant gene in their cultivars, they could nearly finish their crop and still pick it at the same day, as an example.
Well, that's awesome. Now, someone here is bringing up CRISPR, but I think we've talked a little bit about that before. You're not doing it that way. You're doing it through just natural selection. Is that right?
Yep. There's 3 types of marker-assisted breeding. And one is morphogenic, and the second is microscope with stains and dyes, and the third one is molecular with CRISPR and stuff like that.
Have you thought about looking, because CRISPR has a possibility of revolutionizing, maybe in a good way and maybe a horrible way, the food industry. If you can start having all plants produce nitrogen, right, or cut down there by 20% or 10% there, how long they take to mature. Those are huge. Those are big numbers. Big numbers. Well, you think they'll ever get into it with CRISPR? I imagine they will.
In that statement you said is one of my experiments at the moment. So I don't like talking about my new technology stuff, but yes, CRISPR is rad. I haven't worked with it. I want to. Someone hit me up the other day and said, you should work with, you need a qPCR machine, a quantitative polychain reaction machine that gets in and really looks at stuff and analyzes chemical properties. And I haven't got their access to those machines, but I really can't wait. And I said to that person, please hook me up. Yeah, because that's the next, I just need to do other experiments. This is good, but I can only go so far. Over.
And what I believe about this is that if it's a matter of networking, because there are facilities out there would love to give you access, because most, to find someone who's interested in that is not the norm. You know what I mean? I mean, it's like how we can look like CRISPR. You'd be interested because you have ideas on what we could do with it, and not everybody has that, and they would love. I know scientists love other scientists who are interested in their work. So keep networking, and you'll find somebody who will have that equipment.
I can tell you that in Australia, no, straight away, no. We are so far from education, let alone technology down here. It's very primitive. Some of the studies that are coming out, I did a show yesterday with proved some of the studies coming out of Australia compared to a proper scientific study. They did a conclusion with 144 test subjects with the double blind, meaning that there was going to be half of them didn't know what's going on, so they're on placebo. So 72 people, they ran a conclusion on pain. CBD doesn't work with pain in Australia, mate. This is why I can't advance here in Australia. I need to go abroad.
And you've been abroad, right? You've been in Washington and in Canada, right?
Yeah, I lived in Canada for 5 years.
What'd you think of Canada?
Beautiful. I'd love to live in Alaska. I've been to Alaska a few times too, and I'd love to live in Alaska. Love to. Any excuse, I'll be there.
So I'm kind of American centric. How hard is it as a foreigner to move around to other countries, like from Australia? Is it?
Oh, it's piss easy if you've got $1 million in the bank. But if you haven't, good luck. That's about it. You got to keep you can get student visas and other ways to get in, or for a relationship. But you just got to renew as a tourist every 3 or 6 months and prove that you got enough money. That's really all I want.
No, Canada. I remember working in Canada, and I thought they had an interesting, immigration. I was told, and maybe I'm completely wrong, but if you could deposit $1 million in a bank account, you can move to Canada and get a citizenship. That's pretty smart. And they got a lot of people from Hong Kong, I think. A lot of people went to Vancouver when they did the change. But
money rules, mate.
Money does. It sucks.
Not in my area.
But anyways, yeah, I don't know. I talked earlier when I first came on. I'm thinking about opening up a bike store. I bounce around a lot. I do a lot of different things. But I love bicycles. It's one of my favorite things in the world. And I used to work in a bicycle store when I was 12, 13 years old. And great, maybe it's nostalgic craziness, but I love working on bicycles. And we don't have a bike store in this town. So
Well, your calling has been called, and
I
you've
think
already had the name for it.
I already have the name in the company. It's already all ready to go.
I think you should, mate. Bicycles are rad. They're the future. That's what I'm a massive into my cycling.
Oh yeah, there you go. Is that electric bike?
Oh yeah,
Oh yeah, I'm thinking of doing electric bike rentals.
yeah. I know all about the. Actually, one person wanted to employ me on Vancouver Island to be represent their electrical bike company because I told them about how they can improve their electrics in it. From my electrical background, they didn't put fuses in it. It was so stupid. And yeah, so I said, it's so easy. You just got to do this. And they said, can you work for us? Anyway, but they're the future. They're really good. What was I going to say? Even my parents still. My mum, she still rides her electric bike.
No, I've ridden one. It was a pretty nice one, but no, I think it'd be fun. And we could do tours around here. There's a lot of, and we have this, and there's a skateboard park, and they don't really. I guess there's one skateboard shop, but I could have a business right by the skateboard park with skateboards and bicycle rentals and bicycle repair.
Oh,
And now in the summer here, I live on the coast of California, and the main highway goes from Canada to Mexico. It's the 101 that goes right down the coast, and it's a big bicycle destination. So every day, hundreds of people, I would say at least 100 people ride through on their bicycles, and there's no bicycle store, nothing for them. So 10 grand, is that what he's telling me? I think you're right. A real good one would be about 10 grand, probably.
mine's 5.
Five, yeah. I think 5 to 6. Do you have what kind do you have?
I've got I jumped mine 20 feet. What kind do I have? It's called a Yukon. Yukon, Yukon. It's from Washington State.
Oh, okay.
That's what, yeah. It's sick. Big. I got 5-inch tires, 5-inch, 4.8-inch tires on the back.
Pretty good suspension then.
Mate, the thing people don't realise about fat tire bikes is they might have fat tires that way, but they're also twice as width in height, meaning you get shitloads of cushion. It's
Yes,
so comfortable. I turn my suspension onto hard suspension so I can do jumps, and I get enough cushion from the big ass tires. It's really, really enjoyable to ride.
No, and actually, we're going off topic. Sorry, we're going off topic. But there's a debate in the motocross community between a 19-inch back wheel or an 18-inch back wheel. And I'm thinking in terms of leverage, right? But it's not true. They both have the same diameter. The 19-inch wheel and the 18-inch wheel, same diameter, but the 18-inch wheel has a bigger sidewalls than the, so, and actually it's a much more cushiony ride than a 19-inch. But I always thought it would be an inch bigger, and it changes the ratio of your gearbox, right? But that's not the case. They're the exact same diameter between an 18-inch motocross back wheel and a 19-inch because the tires change the thing. But anyways, I digress. But yeah, it all has to do with that sidewall. That's adds a lot of suspension into your ride.
I've got a funny thing related to e-bikes and kangaroos, and I had a kangaroo try to steal my e-bike once, and it I was riding the bike up here and it went me. So I pulled out my photo camera and I did some selfies. So I've got this YouTube clip that shows this kangaroo it attacks me and it's trying to pinch my e-bike. That's pretty funny. So yeah, good conclusion to the story.
No, I think I saw one of those. I don't know if it was you, but I think I saw. So those kangaroos will square up with you, won't they? They want to box and kick you.
Yeah. Got to be ready.
My favorite bike that I have is I have a single speed 29-inch bike that I absolutely love. It's got Chris King stuff, Chris King single speed back hub. Oh, I love that bike.
Does it have a big round front wheel about this round and a small little one?
No, 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 no. I like those too. What were those called?
Penny farthing.
Penny farthings. Yeah, yeah.
Good fun. It's good health. It's about, keeping the good circle happening, which is the tires. You got the good health, the cannabis, all sorts of things. You need. Very good.
Well,
All right. How long are you staying for and for?
what's that?
How long? What are you up to? How long do you go for usually?
But the show?
Yeah.
I usually go about an hour. We got about an hour. Yeah, this is yeah, Chris King was the shit when I was back in the 90s. I mean, I don't know if it's taken over. Suron, that's the bike I rode, was a buddy from, actually met him from YouTube, came and visited Crescent City, and he let me ride his little Suron around. It was actually a pretty cool little bike. It was more like a motorcycle than a bicycle. But
that's what mine's like that. It's a spin out on how much torque it actually pulls you. Like, it doesn't sort of. I thought it'd be like a moped. It's faster than a moped bike.
Oh.
Those 50cc bikes. It gets up to speed in about 2.5 to 3 seconds. I'm doing 25 mile an hour, about 41 kilometers an hour.
No, they get up and go, man.
Yeah,
Really?
And that's now. Imagine in the future, they'll have just everything will be more compact, and it'll just be. But the beautiful thing is, because I got a motorbike as well, that it's silent. So you're belting along the road doing 20, or the car's doing 60, I'm doing 40 on my bike. So, and I'm belting along the road, but it's silent. And it took me a while to get the grin off of my face. I remember it was really, really nice, enjoyable.
They could be a lot of fun.
Then you come back home, you plug them into your solar panels, and you charge it back up for free. Hey?
No, I think no. There's and also my cousin. I actually, since I had this idea, I've talked to some of my family members, and all up and down California and in San Diego. There's a place downtown that, they go on a e-bike store. They rent them and they go on little tours. Like, it's huge. And I could do that here through the redwoods. I could take people to see redwoods that they don't even know about these things.
Mate, yeah.
Anyways, I
could be the tour guide for it. I'll be a tour guide.
I like to think about new ideas, and actually, I have access to this is why it started, a retail place right down by the beach, probably about 800 square feet, right down by the beach, and there is no bike store. I don't know. We got to do it.
Yes, for sure. Yeah, there's a double. It's the future with that, and then you'll get the rad ones. You get interested people. That's a no-brainer. That if it's going to succeed, as long as the overheads don't outweigh, or you know what I mean. As long as you,
yes, I do. Yeah, at least for
do it the right way.
But,
because you don't want to go and buy like 100 bikes and be out of pocket for shitloads and and pay too much interest. If you get 10 bikes or 5, you might be able to start, and within 6 months' time, you learn to double it.
Yeah,
something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I would do. No, I think Pheno Finder, you might be I love bicycles. Like I said, when I was 13, it was one of my first jobs. I worked in a bicycle store, and I loved it. I felt like I just love bicycles. when I was 13, I bought a $300 Motobocon Grand Record. It's like all my friends, that's bikes were like $40. It was like, what are you doing? It was like, oh, this is the best, this is the coolest bike. But I used to, I love bicycles.
I grew up on my bike doing BMX freestyle.
Yeah,
I enjoyed doing that, doing 360s and airs out of the ramp and different.
I did BMX racing when I was back in the 70s, when it was just like some of the first ones, and I was never any good. But then I did motorcycle racing too, and I was still never any good. But I love two-wheel things. I just love them.
Yeah, I've still got my BMX freestyle bike too. Silly kid at heart.
No, bicycles are one of the best inventions ever. I can get on a bike and I go slow, but I can go slow for a long time. I can go slow for a long time. When I think I told this story when me and my cousins, we were 12 and 13. We were working in the bike store and stuff, and we got out a map. This is this is in the early 70s, 73, 74. And yeah, I'm on happy pills tonight, run boy. But we got on our bikes and we wanted to go fishing in Oceanside. We lived in San Bernardino, and it was 100. We didn't know how far it was, but it was actually 113 miles. And it was through this big mountain road that was just crazy. And when we were 12 and 13, we got up one morning about 3 in the morning, got on our bikes, we rode 113 miles.
In a day.
In a day. I was dead. At the end, I was dead. But yeah,
Good effort.
we did things like that back then.
I mean, that's to Australians. It's about 170 kilometres. That's they do that. That's like a stage in the Tour de France.
Well, we took us. I remember we left like 3 in the morning, and we got there like at 6 in the evening. So it was a long day. It was a long day. But yeah, that was back. You know, that was before there was touring bikes and stuff. It was just let's just get on our bikes and go, and we did. Yeah, I'm on happy pills tonight. It's called edibles, sir, and they're kicking in nicely. So thank you.
Very good. Yes,
Those are my
edibles are
happy
good for,
pills.
they're good for long distance, aren't they? The edibles, they don't wear off in a hurry
No, they you got to time them. It's all about
compared to
timing,
cannabis.
and they last. Do you do much edibles?
I wouldn't say compared to the amount that I smoke, but yeah, I do like to do them.
No, I don't. I don't smoke anymore. I'm completely edibles.
Yep, that's good. You'd have it down pat. How long have you been doing edibles only then?
Whew. Oh, good question. At least 6 months, maybe a year.
Wow,
It's been a
Okay.
while.
that'd be good
But
to talk about next time with you.
no, I love the I just like the I figured out a reasonable. It's hard to get on a dose to figure it out. It's hard to figure
Yeah,
it out and timing it because it's a complete. You smoke weed, you're high. You take an edible, it might be 2 or 3 hours later before you're feeling it. So you got to kind of figure it out.
and then it can wear on differently. It can wear on similar to when you're smoking. It can be wear on heaps in the head or severely in the body, or it can be too heavy and you just have to shut your eyes. Yeah, I've not struggled with it, but the dose is really hard. Like you said, it's an art. My friend did a test with his relatives, tested his whole spectrum of his family. He found that his grandparents required 10 milligrams or something mega low, where everybody else was like 20 or 50, or he was 150, stuff like that. So it is a bit of an art.
And then you acclimate them. Like if you did say 300 one day and you just get wasted, you get put on a couch where you got to close your eyes because it's just
Yeah.
it's intense. And,
Yeah.
and when you're an old school stoner guy, you can just kind of tell yourself, okay, it'll be over in 3 hours. Deal with
Yeah.
it.
Yeah.
You get through it. But if you did that same 300 the next day, it wouldn't be nearly as your body acclimates pretty quick. So
Oh, okay.
that's hard to figure out too at the beginning. But I think I'm about I think I'm 300 milligrams a day, which is
Morning
about
and evening.
No, I usually start, and you got to start early. I usually start about 4 o'clock, and I usually end up being finished by 6:30.
Hey, you eat at 4 p.m.
Yeah, that's when I start.
Jesus. And then when's your second dose?
I usually eat like 3 or 4 gummies that add up to about 200. I usually start at 4 and end at 6:30, 7.
So by 10 o'clock or by 9 o'clock, you'd be
Oh
hard
yeah,
to
you're.
keep your eyes open.
Oh, I'm no, I'm singing like I sing like an opera singer.
Okay.
It
Oh,
drives my girlfriend nuts, but I love to sing when I get high. And I'll try to spare you guys because I'm about ready to bust out into song. So
okay. Well, that'll be all right. You'll be here solo when that happens. That'll be all right.
I just don't think I sing. I don't sing well, but I love to. But anyways, that's
You
me.
try. You're a shower singer.
But anyways, anything else out there? Any questions from anybody? Anybody questions for Aussie? You're always. It's always a good time when you pop in. You get some good knowledge. No, I'd definitely be interested in like if you take a class and maybe just parallel take one with you, just we can collaborate a little bit, or you know, it's always a little easier if you're taking a class with someone you can bounce ideas off of or get help with.
Yeah, I don't mind.
I love to learn stuff too. I really do. I might not
Yep,
live like it. I love to.
I've tried. That's why another reason why I started Weed Nerds was to get a lot of interested, educated folk who are like-minded like that, where we could do this. Oh, look at this. Oh, what do you find interesting about that? Oh, we'll have to do this experiment. Did you see class today? Blah blah. Yeah.
Yes.
So it is good, I suppose, to have those types of people out there.
No,
But they're hard to find though.
And it turns out there's a lot of them, and I see a lot of
Oh.
them come in my show. Yeah.
Jesus. And I said, I just go, they're hard to find. And he says, it turns out there's a lot of them. Well, we have to somehow maybe merge my difficulty with your easiness.
Okay. Well, actually, yeah. I know I think probably Sips and Puffs. I'm pretty sure Josh is another guy who comes in here once in a while. He's a real interesting guy. Loves to learn stuff. All these guys, Run Boy, Buds and Hazards. I know I'm forgetting a few of them, but no, I think that would be good topics to talk about. Like if we did that, we could just talk about what we're learning. So
that's what I do on my shows. I'll put one when I'm doing my lectures. I'll go through and go, holy hell, this is so related to cannabis. I'll just go write a note, lecture 36, and next week's, and then I'll pull it up and I'll just get a whole of lecture 36's all the slides for it and start discussing, and it's perfect. So it makes it very easy and good for other people too, because you can share that experience with, here's finally some cannabis notes and slides from university where you can share, and they're up to date as well. It's very beneficial for you, myself, and for others.
No, and actually, believe it, even though I get lost, and I think a lot of people, because the more technical you get, the more narrow it is. The more words that are going to be just some. You know what I'm saying? The more.
Yeah.
So even though sometimes when we get into some of these technical a lot of the words go right past me, but I'm still fascinated, and I think I'm sure you are too. When you hear in your mind, back of your mind, just put a placeholder. I'm gonna have to figure out what that is, but even though a lot of these, the more technical you get, the less relatable it can be. Sometimes it's still, to me, very fascinating, and I think to a lot of other people too.
Those people who can interpret difficult information and make the layman or the uneducated person understand the topic well. That's where I try and come in. I don't like to summarize and give you a big round and spiel. I like to say, yes, because of this, and then that's it. So these courses allow that to happen, and otherwise I'll just say no. It's easier. So I'm sure you'll get excited like me. It gives you a new awakening nearly, because you just understand, and then you'll find out they haven't done any of this stuff in cannabis yet. Oh, I'll just try it. Oh, wow, it works. Oh, and it's like putting in genetic resistance into the plants. It's unbelievable, just tissue culture with cannabis, how you can manipulate genes, all these things. It's really, really cool. I enjoy it.
No, it's fascinating. In fact, I'm going to just, and I know because we're talking the definition of GMO when we talk CRISPR. I mean, that's fucking GMO as GMO can get. I'm going to look into Apple University, see if that's still even up and running, and because they have like top of the line from the best schools in the world, and I'm going to see if I can find some information on CRISPR and what it takes.
You need a lab. You need a lab, and the CRISPR machine is a lot of money too, so you need access to that. And people who house that, they don't give anybody just access to it. You've got to have, usually people are related to labs and universities, so they can go into your local university and use it. So it's hard to get access to those. You can book time in labs. I can do that at the universities here and stuff. But yeah, I don't know. The university people have a lot of one side.
No, I'm gonna look into it a little bit and just see what kind of information. Yeah, I'm sure it's intensive laboratory stuff and probably very specialized. And I'm kind of out of the way here, but I'm pretty close to University of Oregon. I'm pretty close to the Bay Area's, Stanford and Berkeley. I'm sure they have that stuff. But
all it is a machine. You put samples in. You've got to process the samples in different ways before you put them in, and you press a button. Or you let the analyzer, do its thing. It might be flames, it might be lasers, it might be plasma. There's all sorts of ionizing things where it's got to get it back to its ion form. And the way that these gas chronometers, GC mass spectrometry, those machines, they're used regularly as well to test for terpenes. So there's just a matter of just preparing samples and pushing in, press a button, and reading the program on the screen.
No, and one of the good news on that is that since 2020 probably the technology that's gone into mass spectrometers and that has brought the prices way down. For looking for bomb materials, for airports, for drug detection. So there has been a lot of technology that's in the last 20 years. It's gotten really cheaper in those areas, and even cannabis testing. Those are all new things.
Mate, that's why I'd like a little bit somehow of crowdfunding of some type to buy these machines and set them up like my soil. I can get some some NPK, nitrogen, available NPK testers, calmate sulfur, and I'm going to test the substrates and I'm going to test plant material, see what absorbs at different stages of growth as well. That's for developing fertilizers, etc. So I need money for this, and I'm poor as, so I would love to get in this route and somehow do it. And Australia, it's not, it's so backwards. It's not the place to really move forwards in cannabis anyway. Anyway, we should be talking about this off air. That's sort of off air stuff. I feel bad about that.
No, some of the stuff actually is real interesting. How they actually find how plants absorb stuff. They have to do with like radioactive markers and stuff. You get radioactive forms of a nutrient. With what do I want? Damn, with the different nucleus sizes, isotopes. Different isotopes, and that kind of stuff is fascinating. And yeah, that's offline stuff, I think. But yeah, you can like watch how a nitrogen model goes, atom goes through a plant, and it's pretty cool. But yeah,
bioassays.
I feel I've kind of gotten into a little bit of I'm a little antsy. But anyways.
You've had sativa edibles. You've got to try and mark it down. You've got to have more indica edibles then.
Yeah, I don't even know what my girlfriend makes them, and they're just really good.
That's why it happened. If you feel the antsiness, that's what would happen to me anyway. So move it forwards as much as you can, Australia, and eventually New Zealand catch up. Yes, no, it's going to be the opposite, Stoic. New Zealand, they've put things bill into Parliament to legalise homegrown there. Australia hasn't done that yet. Australia's talking the end of 2024. We're so behind. Did you know that Colombia's doing it soon? And then South America's going to come on board. Germany's doing it. Czechoslovakia just put in. Ireland are a few days away from doing it too. So Australia will be last again in the world. And I can't really swear on here, but I'd like to about Australian government. But anyway.
How similar is New Zealand to Australia?
It's way better. It's a lot more. Their rivers are more polluted though, unfortunately. But it's very similar. They've got more nicer people. They don't allow their. I don't want to say what I was going to say. That'll do.
They're nicer. Did it come? Okay, here. I love history and stuff. I know, from what I know, Australia was basically a penal colony, right? From the UK. Was New Zealand? Was that similar to New Zealand? What was?
No, that's the Maoris. The Maoris colonized that.
Who?
The Maoris, Maroi. That's the culture in New Zealand.
Oh, okay.
And like Australian Aboriginals, that's their native Aboriginals. They're called the Maori culture, and they're nice. They're very nice people, but they're big, solid fellas. And that's it. They colonized that area, and then the Pakeas, which is the white people, that's what they call them. They moved in.
From where? From Australia or from England mostly, or all over?
I'd say it's England, but they've got because they're under the British Commonwealth, so it'd be England related, but they've got their accents a smidgen different.
A smidgen?
Yeah, just a smidge. It's not very much different, but it is. Australians can tell it, but most other people can't really tell the difference between Australians and New Zealanders.
How far is it?
It's a 2-hour plane flight.
Have you been there?
Yeah, a few times. It's nice. Very nice, actually. Reminds me of Tasmania and British Columbia with big mountains.
Oh, okay. I heard it's beautiful. I heard New Zealand's very pretty.
Yeah, they sell ounces. Weed's not legal there, and it goes for top dollar. I'm talking about like $500-600 an ounce.
Wow. I heard things like cocaine is very like $400 a gram.
Wouldn't have a clue. I don't get into that shit.
Gotta live a little once in a while, don't you?
No, I'm into cannabis, and I might have the occasional psilocybe cubensis.
Well, there you go. That's starting to become real popular too. The psychedelics, and they're starting to open up to those things, which is kind of cool.
From one who's has large experience in it, because it works, and majorly works.
Absolutely.
If I'm looking for a reset, that's what I do, and that's how I've done that 20 times at least. I'm sick of this life. I just want to change. I'm sick of this shit. Look at it. I want to reset. All right, I'm going to prepare tomorrow. Have them. The following day after that, oh wow, look how cool this is. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do this. It's great.
No, I don't want to come off as a crackhead or anything. I'm not, but there are no. The nature has some amazing things, and I think they should all be explored a little bit. But no, I'm pretty much I pretty much stick to nature myself. But anyways, we've gone over an hour. I don't know if there's any more questions anybody has, but I thought we had a pretty interesting show. Tomorrow I got a guy from T or next week I got a guy from T Labs, which is a business down in Humboldt County that does a lot of tea and nutrient stuff. So he should be an interesting guest. You'll try to have to pop in to see what he has to say, Aussie.
Yeah. Okay.
But
Thank you.
Other than that, I think I'm going to wrap things up. If you want to stick around in the green room, yeah, you got. How did you finish that? Did you finish it with a dark room by any chance?
It hangs dry, hung dry.
But do you like one of my tricks is to leave it in a dark room for like just turn the lights off where it's still growing for like 2 or 3 days. Have you ever tried that?
Yeah.
Because sometimes you get colors like that when you do that.
Yeah, I've found the THC, and the people that have done that with the tests, they've found the THC to increase by a couple of percent. And I've done it too. But when I weigh up over doing it over 12 months, that's a week. And when I'm trying to get 11 runs per 2 years, that's 2 weeks extra. And that's going to throw that cycle out. So I'm happy with my stuff in the high 20s as it is. So that little bit of extra, I didn't want to push into 30. I don't really care. I'm not going for comps. I'd rather the time and space.
Okay. Well,
But it's ways to grow though.
we've lost a lot of the viewers have left us, so I think we've done the hour show. Let's just wrap this thing up. Stick around a little bit, Aussie, and we'll talk in the when we go live. But thank you for tuning in, everybody. I will be back next week, and we should have I can't think of his name at the moment. It's escaping me, but the guy from T Labs, Luke from T Labs. So okay, we lost at the bicycles. Anyways, yes, we'll talk more bicycles. I love bicycles. Anyways, good night, everybody. Get a good night's sleep. I will see you in about a week.
Bye.
About an hour less than a week. I'll see you. Good night.